Today we're making one of my favorite winter treats, cold smoked brown trout that I caught back in November. If you've got a trout sitting in your freezer, don't let it hide there. In a couple of days you can turn it into amazing smoked fish that's better than anything from the store. Let me show you how I do it at home. I caught this brown trout a while ago, vacuum sealed it, and kept it in the freezer. A few days ago I moved it into the fridge so it could thaw slowly and stay nice and fresh. Now I take it out, set it in the sink, and let it finish defrosting at cool room temperature. Don't put the fish in a hot place or in direct sun. Trout meat is very delicate. If it gets too warm, it can start to cook and fall apart. I want it just barely firm, almost defrosted, but still nice and cool. Next, I grab a plastic container for curing. I always put some kind of rack or mesh on the bottom so the fish doesn't sit in its own salty juice. We need a little space between the fillet and the bottom of the container so the brine can drip away. Make sure your fillets fit in the container and can lay flat without bending. Now let's mix our cure. I keep it super simple. 1 part salt to half a part sugar. For example, 1 glass of regular salt and half a glass of sugar. You can skip the sugar if you want, but I really recommend it for smoking. It gives a better flavor and helps with color. You can even use brown sugar for a deeper color and a little caramel taste. Stir that together and set it aside. Time to prep the fillets. First, I remove all the bones. You can technically pull them later, but it's much easier now, and your slices will look nicer. I take a small pair of fish pliers and just grab the end of each bone and pull. They come out quickly and cleanly. I do this for both fillets, and I also trim off any extra ribs with a knife. Now I like to score the fillet. I make crisscross cuts through the meat, almost like a mesh pattern, but I do not cut through the skin. These cuts help the salt soak in quickly and evenly, and they also help the moisture drain out when the fish is hanging. Plus it looks really cool when it's done smoking. When the fillet is scored, I grab my salt and sugar mix and start rubbing it on. I don't completely bury the fish in salt. I want it lightly salted, not crazy salty. I massage the mix into all those cuts, into the sides and over the skin. If I accidentally add too much in one spot, I just scrape off the extra. Then I repeat the same process with the second fillet. Both fillets go onto the rack in my container, skin side down. Remember, there's a gap underneath, so the salty water has somewhere to go. I close the lid and move the container into a really cold place, either the refrigerator or in winter my unheated garage. Right now it's December and my garage is about 35 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is perfect. Because I didn't completely cover the fish in salt, I let it cure a bit longer, usually 12 to 14 hours, but not more than 18. Most of the time I just leave it overnight. Next day. The fillets have firmed up and released a lot of liquid. I take them out of the container and give them a good rinse in cold water, washing off all the salt from the surface. If you're worried the fish is too salty, you can even leave it in cold water for 1 to 3 hours to pull out a little more salt. Today mine tastes just right, so a good rinse is enough. Always keep the water cold. If it's summer, throw a few ice cubes in. After rinsing, I lay the fillets on paper towels and gently pat them dry. Then I set them in a cool place, my garage or basement, and let them air dry. I like to place them under a small fan or blower for at least 1 hour, sometimes 2 or 3. The goal is to dry the surface so it's not wet anymore. This helps the smoke stick and gives that beautiful glossy finish later. When the fish is dry to the touch, it's time to smoke. Sometimes I lay them flat on a rack, but today I'm hanging them. I make a couple of small holes in the skin at the top, slide in some hooks, and they're ready to hang in the smoker. For this recipe, I use a pellet smoker. Today I'm using Mesquite pellets, which work great with fish. You can also use apple, but Mesquite is my favorite for this brown trout. I set the smoker to the lowest temperature, basically just on the smoke setting. in my Louisiana smoker that's usually around 70 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on the weather. Because I want a cold smoke, I keep the temperature down. In summer, I add a lot of ice inside the smoker. Today it's winter, about 27 to 30 degrees outside, so I'm using snow instead. I fill a tray with snow, put it inside, and even pile some on top of the smoker. That helps keep the temperature below about 70 degrees. I hang the fillets in the smoker, close the door, and let the mesquite do its job. I'm aiming for about 3 to 4 hours of smoke, checking once in a while to make sure the temperature stays low and adding more snow or ice if I need to. After 3 to 4 hours, the trout looks amazing and smells even better. At this point, you can already eat it, but I like to take it one step further. I bring the smoked fillets back inside and place them under the blower again for another 12 hours. This extra drying time firms up the fish, concentrates the flavor, and gives it that perfect texture. If I'm planning to store it, I'll vacuum seal the pieces and let them rest in the fridge for another half day. But today I can't wait that long. I'm tasting it the next morning. So here we are, next day. Look at that color, rich, golden, and shiny. The trout is a nice fatty piece of fish, perfectly smoked. I like to enjoy it outside, even in winter. I make some coffee, slice a little bread, add a bit of butter, and then cut thick pieces of the smoked trout. The texture is firm, but still tender. It's lightly salty, not overpowering at all, just how I like it. Honestly, this is better than anything I can buy at the market, because I caught this fish myself and I know exactly what went into it. You can eat this trout simply on its own, with a cold beer, or like me, with hot coffee on a sunny, chilly morning, a piece of toast, some butter, and a slice of smoked brown trout. That's a perfect way to start the day. If you try this recipe, let me know in the comments how it turned out, or share your own way of smoking trout. I always love learning new techniques. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your day, enjoy your fish, and I'll see you in the next video.